Silas Allred. You know him. I know him. I know him well. My son-in-law. But also a stud on the mat. Why'd you do this?
I just wanted to see how tough I was. I had this burning question in my mind of how good can I be? And the only way to answer the question was to do something really hard.
What makes you tough?
I think that wrestling, obviously it's a tough man sport. So I think that people who wrestle, they automatically assume they're tough, but it's beyond that, I wasn't just looking to be tough like everybody else. I wanted to kind of transcend what that meant. And to me, it's more than just being an elite athlete or an elite wrestler, Division I wrestler, whatever. It's challenging myself, mind, body, spirit. How can I grow? How great can I be? Who am I meant to be? And again, the only way to pursue the answer to a question like that is to do the work and try to figure it out.
How hard has this been?
It has been the most focused, driven past 3.5 months of my life. I kind of blew away my own expectations of what I thought was possible for myself, doing something that I didn't think that I could do, that I didn't think I could achieve. And, now doing it, it's real. And, I see it physically and I feel it physically, and it's awesome.
Do you feel like you've earned more by doing this?
We're in a sport to where there's no such thing as earning something. Anything that you feel you've earned, you got to go and take, because other people believe it too. I don't get points or kudos or whatever for the work I've put in. My opponents are going to look at me and think, man, he did more work this offseason. I'm going to let him win this match. So, but what I do have, I feel like, is a mental edge. I've sharpened my mind. I've hardened my mind. I have this self-belief and this confidence in me, knowing that maybe there's someone who's worked as hard as me, but there's no one who's worked harder. I've done things that I know many people aren't willing to or aren't capable of doing. And the edge that gives me, I think, is going to be very crucial to my success this year.
There's something in the business world called sweat equity. Do you feel like that you've put in more sweat equity in this season than in the past?
Yeah, it's not even close. I thought what I was doing before was hard work. People talk about, being a champion isn't just doing what you're supposed to be doing or what the coaches want you to do. It's going above and beyond. And I thought that I was, but I wasn't even close. I wasn't even close to my full capacity. I was operating at 60%, and now I'm pushing the boundaries of what I thought was 100, and realizing that there's more that I can achieve.
Simple question, has multiple meanings. Are you hungry?
As hungry as I've ever been.
I like it. So when you toe the line with somebody else this year, going through what you went through, doing what you've done, living the life that you lived, what's it going to feel like?
I like to wrestle very composed and be very calm, but there's a little difference this year because of everything that I've had to sacrifice, the comfort, the date nights, the I don't know, just that mental relaxation where there's no worry or stress or I guess living free of the burden or the focus of what you have coming. I've sacrificed all that and have been just completely one-dimensionally focused on what was ahead of me and what I wanted. So when I toe the line this year, in my mind, that's what my opponents have taken from me, because they're the reason why I've been so focused. They're the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I want to pursue something that's great. I want to be great, and to do that, I have to beat people. That's the line of the sport that I'm in. That's the nature of it, and knowing that they're what's in my way, and they're what's keeping me from achieving those goals and accomplishing what I want. And that's the mindset. It's nothing personal, but the reality is they're in the way of me achieving my dreams and accomplishing my goals. And that's how I'm going to wrestle. That's how I'm going to perform, and it's basically in the mindset that you're what I have to overcome in order to achieve and to be who I want to be. And I'm going to do everything I can to let you stop me. If you do, kudos to you. Just know you're going to get my best every time.
I love it. Tell us what you did.
I made the drop to 184.
All right, 184. So officially, you've heard it here. Big Ten champ, Silas Allred, 197. Silas Allred has decided to go 184. Now, that weight class has some heavy names. What's your thoughts on the top, the Starachis, the Parkers? What are you thinking?
I love it. You know, I love the fact that now that I've challenged myself the most and pushed myself the most, I'm moving into arguably the toughest weight class in the country. You know, you have the number 1 and number 2 or number 3 pound for pound guys in the country at the weight class. So it's like, what better way to test myself? What better way to really push the boundaries and see, you know, what I can do, what I can accomplish than to face the best. Like, that's what I want. So I'm here. I'm not moving for an easier route or dodging people. Like, I want the best.
Yeah, because you could have stayed at 97 and some guys graduated out and, you know, the weight class kind of opened up a little bit. You could have stayed there, but you decided this is what you wanted and this is what you needed. What all went into that decision?
You know, obviously, I have you and I have other people in my corner who have talked to me and have challenged me. And, you know, it's encouraged me to challenge myself. You know, there has been a lot of deep reflecting where I look back at myself and I think, what can I do differently? How can I succeed? You know, I've taken my lumps, round of 12 twice. Like, it's a hard pill to swallow, you know, being one match away from being an All-American and accomplishing something special. So yeah, it's just deep reflecting and figuring out, you know, where can I be better? Like, being honest with myself, you know, knowing I'm not doing enough, knowing that I didn't put in the work that I could have put in, knowing I, you know, spent too much time focused on having fun or not stressing about, you know, wrestling, whatever. And I realized that in order to accomplish what I want to accomplish, I have to become obsessed. I have to love it. I have to eat it, sleep it, breathe it. Like, it has to be a part of who I am as a man. And knowing that and embracing that, you know, it changed the game for me. And because of that, you know, I just wanted to do some really hard stuff. And 184 seemed like the best way to challenge myself and to push myself. And I started dieting. I started taking care of my body, lifting, prioritizing my health and my performance, and just trying to sharpen myself into the most elite human, not just athlete, but elite human that I can be. And in doing so, 184 became what the goal was. And here we are now.
I love what you said there, because it wasn't that you were dropping to a weight class, is that you were becoming a better person all the way around. And as you got better, 84 was the option. It was the obvious answer at that point. And in, like we talked about, I mean, you didn't have to go down to the hard weight class. You could have stayed up, but you've earned the right to go where you want to go. And you told me pretty early, this is not something that you've decided to do and you've did this crazy fast weight loss and hurt yourself. You took this serious. When did you start doing this whole process? I mean,
I started the cut on my own in April and hit some plateaus and you know, had some difficulties just, you know, really trying to iron out my diet and how to manage it with my performance and how I could make those things kind of cohesively work together. And then obviously, you know, we've talked extensively, and then obviously we brought Shannon on as well, and he's just, you know, a bundle of knowledge and really bringing apart a whole team to help make this process happen. I mean, we dialed it in, and then it would have been at the very beginning of July is when we kind of locked in on a diet, and it worked, and my training felt great, and my body wasn't like hurting, and it wasn't a detriment. And yeah, the weight kind of started falling off, and obviously we hit some plateaus and stuff and had to adjust. But I mean, it's been smooth sailing for the most part. Like, obviously hard work and a grind, but yeah, it's worked out.
Yeah. And this is something that you took to your coaches, right?
Yeah. I went to them early on about it. I told them, I started kind of dropping to see how I'd feel. And then I told them at the end of May, I was like, I think I want to go 84 next year. And they're like, okay, like, we'll see. And they were on board, but they just didn't know if I could do it.
Sure.
You know, it's a big drop. It's the biggest cut that you can have in wrestling, besides, you know, obviously a heavyweight going to 97. So it's a big drop, and I hadn't been in the 80s since I was 15 years old. So
it's wild.
I mean, a complete transformation. Like, when I look at, photos of me preseason last year compared to this year. I'm a different human being.
Yeah.
So truly it was, I had to commit to transform my body, like in transforming, how I looked and felt and what I was used to. And yeah, like I said, in doing so, kind of transform my mind as well and the way that I approach the sport.
Yeah. Yeah. I like all that. I think that you're going to be a better person by, we say it all the time, it's not my coin, but the chosen suffering works. When you choose it, you put yourself in certain adversities, you grow, and you've done that. You've did the hard work, and, just me being a spectator in it, I mean, you've done it perfectly, and not everybody, not very, very few actually, let's say, would do what you've done to the degree that you've done it. You've sacrificed a lot in just that personal world, where it would have been easy to go out and just eat, hang out, drink, whatever you do, with friends through the summer, through, preseason, stuff like that. But you stayed to it. And I mean, you are completely, I think in all ways, you're a very different human.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I think the beautiful thing with the sport too is it gives you no choice. You're going to suffer, right? And, I've kind of came to this realization that you have two options. Either A, you can embrace the suffering, you can run towards the suffering, and by doing so, you'll be glorious through your suffering. Or B, you can run from the suffering. You can run from the pain, the discomfort, all those things. And the suffering is going to catch you. And when it does, you're going to tremble because of it. It's the bull and the cow analogy.
Yep.
When a storm comes, or it's bison and cow.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Bison and cow. So when the storm comes, the bison, they run head into the storm and they get through it faster. They face adversity. Cows, they run away.
That's right.
And because of that, they're in the storm longer. So, it's kind of that principle in regards to suffering that, it was kind of like an epiphany moment for me, like an aha.
Yeah.
And then, once I started embracing it, kind of fell in love with it.
I think that it's just paid dividends already, but I'm very excited to see what it does on the mat. And this makes the lineup for Nebraska, just hammers. I know you went to Lenny and you talked to Lenny and you had that conversation with him prior to making that. It wasn't like you forced him out of a spot, but you thought, and hey, he's going to be even better here. He was on board. And then you also had a conversation with Cam, the incoming 197 that potentially could have redshirted this year. Tell me that, is it everybody cool on the team? Was everybody okay, ready? Was everybody game for it?
Yeah. So before I did this, because, at the end of the day, it's an individual sport, but there's definitely a team aspect.
Absolutely.
So before I made the drop, I talked with Lenny and I talked with Cam both, and had conversations just like, hey, like, this is what I want to do. Are you guys on board? With Lenny was like, hey, can you make 74? Could you do it? Like, would that work for you? And thought about it, and he was like, yeah, I could do that. And then I went to Camden and I was like, Cam, would you be okay with not redshirting? Would you be ready to go this year? Would you want to compete? And he was like, I'll do whatever I have to do. I'd love to compete this year. And once I had the green light from both those guys, the green light from my coaches, it was full steam ahead.
Everybody was game, and I'm excited about the lineup. It really shifts everybody into a very, very strong showing for themselves at those weight classes. 74 is tough too, but Lenny's he's a competitor, man, and he's so strong and so agile. He's going to be fit at 74. He's going to give people some trouble.
I think that 74 is a perfect weight for Lenny. Last year at 84, he really wasn't cutting weight. He kind of lived around 186 to 185 pounds. He would eat full dinners before weigh-ins.
He's Italian.
Yeah. He'd get after it. So I think that it's going to be a really good fit for him. Definitely a little more disciplined.
Sure.
He's got to lock in a little bit in regards to like nutrition and stuff, but he's doing it and he's done it. His weight's trending in the right way. Like he's basically there already. So he's good, and man, Camden's a hammer. I can't speak highly enough about him. He's a grinder. He works really, really hard. He's a head down kind of guy who just gets after it, loves the grind. So I think he's going to be really good. He's going to be the kind of guy who starts off the season good and grows exponentially.
Yeah.
One of the guys who kind of get forged in the fire. In the fire season, he's going to grow a lot, and I think he can have a really, really good year.
I think it's I look at Cam a lot like the way I saw you coming into the program. And just in the sense that, he's had you and he has Schultz, but you had Schultz, and it's like he had good people around him. And then he was out at the Olympic Training Center for that year. He's been competing at a high level. But you're right. I think there will be some in the beginning of the season. He's going to have to learn that new pace of college wrestling. But I think he's just going to grow. His ceiling's so high. He's such a tough dude. And I hear it from you. If you're telling me stuff, dude's a hammer. So I'm pumped about it.
Yeah, no, he's tough. We scrap, man. It's a great time. I love having him in the room. He's a great addition. I think he's going to be really, really, really good. He's got so much time. Yeah, you know, for most guys, it's like they need that redshirt year. You know, you see them, they get to the room, they're kind of, you know, shell-shocked a little bit. They need the year. He's one of those guys who you look at him, he's like, he doesn't need it. You know, the intangibles are already there, and now it's just fine-tuning and sharpening. Yeah. And again, like, through the season, he's a guy who I know is going to find it. He'll figure it out because he wants to find it. He desires it. So yeah, you can see the hunger in his eyes. It's going to be awesome.
Well, dude, you're going to be a killer at 84. I think Nebraska is, they're a competitor. You know, I think you got to start talking Nebraska. Which color of do they want? You know, it's to me, you're a trophy team. It's just depending on if you guys show up all the same time, if you might stand on top, you know?
No, I agree. I think that all the talent's there. It's just a matter of belief, of commitment to ourselves and to one another, and then just making it happen.
Yeah. Well, dude, congratulations. I'm pumped. Season's what, 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away?
Right on the corner. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get it. Any closing remarks on the 184 cut? Anything you want to say about it or anything before we jump off here?
The only thing that I'll share, and it's become kind of a passion of mine, and I tell it to the people around me all the time, just because it's changed my life, is we're so much more capable than what we give ourselves credit for. This is something, again, that I didn't think was possible. Again, hadn't been the 80s it's been 7 years now since I was 15, like a half years old, and pushing myself, challenging myself, it's raised the ceiling for me. It put this belief in me that there is so much that I can achieve that I don't give myself credit for. And it's not an arrogance, but it's a confidence in knowing that if you really believe in something, put your mind to it, and don't give yourself another option, you can do really, really special things. And I think that reality is something that people need to embrace more just in their daily lives. Like they can just change you,
Hey man, that's good. Yeah, listen to that. That's everything right there. Well, my closing thought would just be this, dude. Keep fighting for success, bro.
Let's go.
All right, man. That's good.